Hello. They exist.
I do not hello. Do not exist.
Okay. What do we do then?
Fine.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Okay. That's a good forward.
How do you not exist?
I basically just pretend to be Teras.
Wow, that's quite impressive actually.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
I'm a professional, actually, believe it or not. In fact, I'm so professional, I already prepared everything. Exodus 38.
Oh,
and I see you removed the note last time.
It's just what I do.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Also professional.
It's by design.
You're by design.
Whose design?
God. Sorry, Clay. What?
Yes, I am Clay. Hello.
You can claim that.
Wow. I don't even know what to say.
Well, maybe we should just stop saying things and start reading.
Well, enjoy your instructions.
Yeah. Are you ready for this?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Wait, how do you read that name, Jen? The red head?
Yeah, you just read really loud. But the head isn't capitalized, so maybe you should read that quieter than the rest.
I mean, that's just because it's the word redhead, but with emphasis on red. So red should be read more with more power.
Are you a redhead though?
Red is my fave band. Many people will be upset if I say that I've never heard of that.
Neither have I, so that makes two of us. We're either too young. We're either too young or too old. I can't tell which one yet.
Honestly, we're kind of getting to that age where it gets difficult. It is true. There's quite a lot of really popular older music that I just don't know because I don't care enough to educate myself. Stuff from like the Michael Jackson era, or I can't even think of the names. Stuff like Beatles, and yeah, I don't care about that stuff, so I'm not educated on that. Sorry, just got hit with a 7 ad run. Can't hear you. What? What the fuck?
What the fuck, Twitch?
Literally, why? I ran the ads during the intro, so we don't get pre-roll ads when you tune in. And you tune in.
Twitch doesn't give a shit.
And you get ads.
Twitch wants your money.
It's amazing. They can't even get their ads right. Holy fuck.
Well, Twitch likes money. I mean, you gotta give them that.
We just came to the conclusion that we have no idea who or what Red is, other than the band. And we're not sure if we're too young or too old at this point. And at this point, we're just too afraid to ask.
I don't think I want to know which one it is.
Maybe Red is just how you commonly abbreviate the Red Hot Chili Peppers?
That doesn't make fucking sense.
Red as in Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That literally makes no fucking sense. You absolutely
I said abbreviation, not acronym. Do you know the difference?
Yes, however, that still doesn't make sense. Oh, that's fucking good. Just get a broomstick, like, shut up there.
Pet me. Pet me.
Yes.
Wait, is that the correct hand?
I don't know. It's just fucking dumb as fuck. And we still haven't even begun reading the Bible.
I didn't know the quality of a stream could be lower than it is when reading the Bible. That is an accomplishment.
At least if it makes you feel any better, you have like a +1 to stream quality by default because of good old Danny.
Exodus 30. Okay, ads on a wait. What? I just want to
That
point
fucking
out,
took a while.
So at 6:06, so you got ads for literally 2 minutes or more.
What the fuck, Twitch?
So apparently the 3-minute ad run I ran during the starting soon scene is now, yeah, Twitch.
7 advertising.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes sense if you run 3 minutes of ads. Most ads are around 30 seconds, so it does make sense. I just
Your ads just run with a considerable delay, just to inconvenience.
I
Just
don't
one
fucking know
particular person.
what's the point if I can't. The point is you run the ads now so people don't get pre-roll ads, so you have more control over your own content. They wanted to give people the option instead of just randomly having ads and then ruin the experience for a few people. And now you can't even use that. Never seen that many before. I think it's because I manually ran them. So I started the stream. It takes about 5 minutes. I have a starting soon scene for about 5 minutes, and then I start the stream. During those 5 minutes, I run 3 minutes of ads. They are already long gone. They're long past. But for some reason, you tuned in, and then Twitch is like, hey, you tuned in just after the ads. You know what? You sneaky son of a bitch. Have some ads.
They didn't want you to miss them in case, input their important plot points for the stream. So, yeah. The ads.
Anyway, we have no idea who Red is, and we're too afraid to ask at this point. We're either too old or too young.
Yeah, there you go.
Devil doesn't want to hear the word today. Don't worry. There will be plenty of words, and most of them will be building instructions.
Speaking of which, you may commence.
I can't wait to reach Leviticus, whatever the fuck you pronounce that. The next
Leviticus.
book. Leviosa.
No, it's Leviosa. Oh.
Okay, I think our IQ has sufficiently dropped to actually start consuming the Bible. Exodus. Shut up. Exodus 38.
At least 5.
Okay, and that concludes the stream for today. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, brilliant! Like, continue, because we're what, 12 minutes in, and we haven't even started reading.
That's normal. I literally look at the YouTube videos. I timestamp them. It's about 10 minutes of intro. Well, I actually removed the intro for the export, so it's like 5 to 10 minutes of random rambling before we actually get into it. Sometimes less, sometimes even more. Red is a Christian band. Sorry, I got a freaking phone call.
Oh no.
Phone ads. Never heard of them. I only know the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which is the same, right?
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Exodus 38. He also made the altar of Holocaust from Setim wood, 5 times 457 millimeters square and 3 in height. The horns of which proceeded from the corners, and he covered it with layers of brass. And for its uses, he prepared diverse vessels out of brass: kettles, forceps, little hooks, larger hooks, receptacles for the fire. What the fuck is a forceps?
It's a thing you grab things out of. Like, it's a thing. It's a thing for grabbing.
Basically a pair of pliers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sort of. Okay. Sure.
Your fucking kettle.
Do not boil goat. And he made its grating of brass, in the manner of a net, and under it, in the midst of the altar, its base, casting 4 rings at the 4 ends of the net in order to set the bars so as to carry it. These bars he also made of setim wood, and he covered them with layers of brass. And he drew them through the rings, which projected from the sides of the altar. But the altar itself was not solid, but hollow, made from panels and empty inside, just like myself. He also made the washtub of brass, with its base made from the mirrors of women who kept watch at the door of the tabernacle. They had mirrors back then?
Well, if they didn't, they do now. I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to make a mirror. Like, obviously, they would have technology to heat things up.
Also,
so they could heat sand up, pour it in a glass, square, flat shape, pour some silver in the back of it, and then boom, something that's kind of a mirror.
No, they didn't have mirrors. They just had a barrel or a jug of water, and you just bend, you like get over it, and then you look into it, and there's your mirror.
And then you sneeze, and the water goes everywhere, and you have to wait till it settles, and you're just standing there like a plant pot waiting for the water to stop shaking.
And then you realize that the boogers are swimming on top of the water.
Just like a little island in the middle.
So, the mirrors of the women who kept watch. So, were at least some, if not all, women already had their own mirrors back then?
I mean, I suppose I mean, are we talking wealthy women, or are we talking just village women?
The women who kept watch. We don't know which women kept watch.
Well, I suppose if they kept watch, they would be a bit higher up than I guess. You wouldn't have some random ass peasant woman, watch over things, right?
I mean, I have a random ass peasant watching over my chat, so.
What, you mean cat peasant?
Yes, that's the joke. Good job, you got it.
Oh, so good. I'll pat myself on the head.
He also made the atrium, at the south side of which were hangings of fine twisted linen of 100 times 457 millimeters, and 20 columns of brass with their bases. The heads of the columns and all of the engraving work were of silver. Equally, at the northern area, the hangings, the columns, and the bases and heads of the columns were the same measure of work and work and metal. Yet truly, on that side, which looks out toward the west, there were hangings of 50 times 457 millimeters and 10 columns with their bases of brass, and the heads of the columns and all of the engraving work were of silver. Furthermore, toward the east, he prepared hangings of 50 times 457 millimeters, of which there were 50 times 457 millimeters among 3 columns with their bases holding up one side. And on the other side, between the two, he made the entrance of the tabernacle. There were equally hangings of 15 times 457 millimeters and 3 pillars and the same number of bases. All the hangings of the atrium were woven from fine twisted linen. Bases of the columns were of brass, but their heads, with all of their engravings, were of silver. Now, he also overlaid the columns of the atrium themselves with silver. And he made, at its entrance, a hanging, wrought with embroidery of hyacinth, purple, vermilion, and fine twisted linen, which held 20 times 457 millimeters in length, yet truly it was 5 times 457 millimeters in height, as with the measure of all the hangings of the atrium. Now the columns at the entrance were 4, with bases of brass, and their heads and the engravings of silver. Likewise, the 10 pegs of the tabernacle and the atrium all around he made of brass. These are the instruments of the tabernacle of the testimony, which were enumerated according to the instructions of Moses, which the ceremonies of the Leviosa, by the head of Ithamar, the son of triple Aaron the priest, which Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, from the tribe of Judah, had completed, just as the Lord decreed through Moses. Instead of just saying, just as the Lord indirectly commanded them to.
That'd be too easy.
This is literally what this says, as instructed by God. He was joined by his associate, Oholiab, the son of Ahisamach, from the tribe of Dan, who himself was also an exceptional artisan of wood and of weaving, as well as of fine embroidery with hyacinth, purple, vermilion, and fine linen. All of the gold that was expended in the work of the sanctuary and that was offered in donation was 29 talents and 730 shekels, according to the measure of the sanctuary. Teras?
Yes.
What did you just...
What did I do?
I heard that.
You heard what?
Yes.
Why did you hear it? That's a good question.
Maybe because of the video call thingy?
But that's muted.
What? Because you're sharing
What?
your. I guess I'll just mute your screen share stream thingy. Because you're sharing your browser and.
That's confused noises, question mark?
You're a confused noise. Now it was offered by those who were past the numbering of 20 years and above. Redundant? Past the numbering of 20 years. So you're older than 20 years and above. So you're older than 20 years, or you're older than 20 years and older than that.
What? Try again? What?
You tell me. Those who were past the numbering of 20 years, aka people that were older than 20 years and above. So people that were older than 20 years or older.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. Let's go with that.
From 603,550 men able to bear arms. They had bare arms? There were beyond that 100 talents of silver, from which were cast the bases for the sanctuary and for the entrance where the veil hangs. Why did I misread that as evil?
Wise.
100 bases were made from 100 talents. A single talent being counted for each space. Wow. /r/they did the math. But from 1,775, he made the heads of the columns, which he also clothed with silver. Likewise, of brass, there was offered 72,000 talents and 400 more shekels, from which were cast the bases at the entrance of the tabernacle of the testimony, and the altar of brass with its grating, and the vessels which pertain to its use, and the bases of the atrium, as much as the circumference. Oh wait, it's circumference. Shut up.
Circumference.
Circumcision, circumference.
Circumference. That's fucking brilliant.
As I said, English should be made consistent in terms of how you pronounce that.
Oh my fucking god.
As at its entrance and the tent pegs of the tabernacle and of all the atrium all around. So, Teras.
Circumference.
Can you do me a favor? So
Yes.
Basically this lists all the materials and actually in quantities. Can you do some conversion and figure out how much is, where the fuck was it? All of this. Like how much is 29 talents and 730 shekels of gold? How much is?
Yeah. On it, boss.
So they had 603,550 men. So I guess they must have had a lot of resources. 100 talents of silver. I don't know how much. We had that at some point, but I don't remember. So I just want to. I want the dimensions in an understandable way. 1,775 talents of something like that. That sounds like it's going to be a lot, but I don't know. We'll find out. While you do that, Exodus 39. Truly, from hyacinth and purple, vermilion, and fine linen, he made the vestments with which triple Aaron was clothed when he ministered in the holy place, just as the Lord instructed Moses. And so he made an ephod of gold, hyacinth, and purple, and twice-dyed scarlet, and fine twisted linen, wrought with embroidery. And he cut thin stripes of gold and drew them into threads, so that they could be twisted into the weave of the first colors. Why only the first? And he made 2 edges, coupled to one another at the top of both sides, and a white belt from the same colors, just as the Lord had instructed Moses. He also prepared 2 onyx stones, set and enclosed in gold, and engraved with the skill of a jeweler, with the names of the sons of Israel. And he set them in the sides of the ephod as a memorial to the sons of Israel, just as the Lord had instructed Moses. He also made a breastplate wrought with embroidery, according to the work of the ephod, from gold, hyacinth, purple, and twice-dyed scarlet, and fine twisted linen, with 4 equal sides, doubled of the measure of the palm of a hand. And he set 4 rows of gems in it. In the first row was a sardius stone, topaz, and emerald. And the second was a garnet, sapphire, and a jasper. The third was a zircon, an agate, and an amethyst. And the fourth was a chrysolite, an onyx, and a beryl, surrounded and enclosed in gold by their rows. And these 12 stones were engraved with the names of the 12 tribes of Israel, each one with a single name. They also made, in the breastplate, little chains linked to one another from the purest gold, and 2 hooks and the same number of gold rings. Moreover, they set the rings at both sides of the breastplate, from which 2 golden chains would hang, which they connected with the hooks that projected from the corners of the ephod. These were both in front and in back, so that they met one another, and so that the ephod and the breastplate were woven together, being fastened to the white belt and strongly coupled with the rings, to which a hyacinth band was joined, lest they should shake loose and be moved away from one another, just as the Lord had instructed Moses. They also made the tunic of the ephod entirely from hyacinth, with the head in the upper part at the middle. With the head in the upper part at the middle and the upper part at the middle. What? Okay. Sure. The head in the upper part at the middle and a woven edge all around the head. Then, at the feet below, they also made pomegranates from hyacinth, purple, vermilion, and fine twisted linen, and little belts from purest gold, which they set between the pomegranates at the very bottom of the tunic all around. So then, the high priest approached, adorned with the gold bell and pomegranate when he performed his ministry, just as the Lord had instructed Moses. They also made fine linen tunics with woven work for triple Aaron and his sons, and headdresses with their little crowns of fine linen, and also linen undergarments of fine linen. Yeah, that's that's usually what it's made of. If you have a linen undergarment, it's usually made of linen. I guess I want to specify that it's fine linen, so you know what, that's fine. Truly, they also made a white band of fine twisted linen, hyacinth, purple, as well as vermilion, twice dyed with skillful embroidery, just as the Lord had instructed Moses. How many times did I read just as the Lord had instructed Moses by now? And help.
Yes.
They also made the plate of sacred veneration from purest gold, and they wrote on it with the skill of a jeweler, "Holy to the Lord," and they fastened it to the headdress with a hyacinth band, just as the Lord had instructed Moses. Oh, okay, God. And so, all the work of the tabernacle and of the covering of the testimony was completed, and the sons of Israel did all that the Lord had instructed Moses. For fuck's sake! And they offered the tabernacle and the covering and all of the articles. Rings, the panels, the bars, the columns and bases, the cover of the skins of rams dyed red, and the other cover of violet skins, the veil, the ark, bars, the bars again? The propitiatory, the table with its vessels, and the bread of the presence, but not the future or past, the lampstand, the lamps, their utensils with the oil, the altar of gold and the ointment, and the incense of aromatics, and the tent at the entrance of the tabernacle, the altar of brass, the grating, the bars, and all of its vessels, and the washtub with its base, the hangings of the atrium, and the columns with their bases, the hanging at the entrance of the atrium, and their little cords and pegs. Nothing was lacking of the articles that were commanded to be made for the ministry of the tabernacle and for the covering of the covenant. Likewise, the vestments of the priests, namely triple Aaron and his sons, made use of. Hello, Mr. Burns. How much defense does plate of sacred veneration have? You would have to
12.
ask Egg. Yeah, there you go.
I don't actually know. I just said a number.
Yeah, that's what it has now. You know the DM. Likewise, the vestments, which the priests, namely triple Aaron and his sons, make use of in the sanctuary, the sons of Israel offered just as the Lord had instructed. After this, when Moses saw that everything was completed, he blessed them. How nice of him. Good thing you only tuned in this late, Mr. Burns, because
yeah,
not fun. They literally just repeated everything. Just all the things they made. Just how's the research going?
Yeah, pretty good.
Okay, it's the thing, Teras.
Yes.
Research is important, but I think you really have to pay attention now.
Oh no, not again.
We're on the last chapter of Exodus.
Oh no.
You gotta be full
But
focus.
Mom.
You gotta. This is where the interesting part happens.
Oh no.
Probably, possibly, unlikely because it's the Bible. Exodus 40. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "In the first month, on the first day of the month, you shall raise the tabernacle of the testimony, and you shall place the ark in it, and you shall release the veil before it. And having brought on the table, you shall place the things which were solemnly commanded upon it. A lampstand shall stand with its lamps, and the altar of gold, in which incense is burned, shall stand before the ark of the testimony. You shall place the tent at the entrance of the tabernacle, and before it the altar of holocaust. The washtub shall stand between the altar and the tabernacle, and you shall fill it with water. And you shall encompass the atrium and its entrance with hangings. And having taken up the oil of unction, you shall anoint the tabernacle along with its articles, so that they may be sanctified. The altar of holocaust and all its vessels, the washtub with its base, and all things you shall consecrate it with the oil of unction, so that they may be holy, so that they may be the holy of holies. And you shall bring forward triple Aaron and his sons to the entrance of the tabernacle of the testimony, and, having washed them with water, you shall clothe them in the holy vestments, so that they may minister to me, and so that their unction may accomplish an everlasting priesthood. And Moses did all that the Lord had instructed. Therefore, in the first month of the second year, on the first day of the month, the tabernacle was put in place. And Moses raised it up, and he positioned the panels as well as the bases and the bars, and he set up the columns. And he stretched out the roof over the tabernacle, imposing a cover above it, just as the Lord had decreed. And he placed the testimony in the ark, applying the bars beneath and the oracle above. And when he had brought the ark into the tabernacle, he drew the veil before it, in order to fulfill the commandment of the Lord. And he placed the table in the tabernacle of the testimony at the north side, beyond the veil, arranging before it the bread of the presence, just as the Lord had instructed Moses.
I've done research.
Hold on, maybe we might as well just finish this. And he placed the lampstand in the tabernacle of the testimony away from the table on the south side, setting lamps in order according to the precept of the Lord. He also positioned the altar of gold under the roof of the testimony, opposite the veil, and he headed upon it the incense of aromatics, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. And he positioned the tent at the entrance of the tabernacle of the testimony, and the altar of holocaust in the vestibule of the testimony, offering the holocaust and the sacrifices upon it, just as the Lord had decreed. Quick thing I want to point out. So they built all of these things, and on the first day of the first month each year, so once a year, they're supposed to set all of this up, and they should pray to the Lord, basically.
Interesting.
So why not just leave everything instead of just tearing it down and building it back up every year? What's the point? They had enough land back then, right?
And money.
And why is Moses doing this all by himself? Why is nobody helping him?
Because they're all too weak.
Likewise, he stationed the washtub between the tabernacle of the testimony and the altar, filling it with water. And Moses and triple Aaron, along with his sons, washed their hands and feet whenever they would enter the covering of the covenant, and when they approached the altar, just as the Lord had instructed Moses. The tent anyway. They're traveling. Okay, well, if they're traveling, then, sure. How much fucking stuff do they all bring with them?
Apparently a lot.
I'm just imagining sort of a traveling carnival. That's what I'm picturing right now. The country of milk and honey, or are they already there? Yes. Something. Maybe. Nobody knows. And he raised up the atrium around the tabernacle and the altar, drawing the hanging at its entrance, After all these things were perfected, the cloud covered the tabernacle, the testimony, and the glory of the Lord filled it. Thanks, Teras.
You're welcome.
Neither could Moses enter the covering of the covenant. The cloud was covering all things, and the majesty of the Lord was flashing. Excuse me? What? Well, the cloud had covered everything. Whenever the cloud departed from the tabernacle, the sons of Israel set out by their companies. But if it remained hanging over it, they remained in the same place. Certainly, the cloud of the Lord lay over the tabernacle by day, the fire by night, being seen by all the people of Israel throughout all their resting places. The end.
Oh my.
So, what did you find out?
Money.
How much?
Well, it doesn't specify, apart from just like a couple of them, whether it's gold or silver. So I just calculations for both in both cases. At the cheapest, if everything's silver, which I presume there's some gold with us, but everything is silver, it's still over $2 billion dollars in value.
I mean, I was thinking more like how many kilograms of it is, but okay, well, did you adjust
I got value.
Did you adjust for inflation and holiness?
I've got a whole magical converter that does it all for me. At best, if it's all made out of gold, it's 141 billion.
Okay, and how much gold is that? How much gold do $141 billion get you?
That's a lot of gold. Let me
I don't know the gold prices. How is that an ending? I can tell you how. Because this says the book of Leviticus, so clearly it's over. That's how it is an ending.
Dollars.
They did sum it up basically. Lord gave instructions, build this with these, made of this, with these measurements, and then it said, and they built this. And then they reassembled it and they used it, and yeah, there you go. Basically, they did what they were commanded. Honestly, you could probably cut down a third of the book of Exodus, or maybe a quarter, but quite a lot. If you just did like all the instructions that God gave, and then it's just like, and they complied, instead of listing what they did. Gold is like $50,000 per kilogram. Boy, holy fuck!
Yeah. I'm just doing. Oh my fucking god. Okay, that's a lot of fucking kilograms.
50 billion would be 1,000 tons.
It's 64 tons of gold. 64 and a half tons of gold.
So they're just casually carrying all of that around.
Yeah, I've just done the conversion from the dollars to.
Where did it say how many men? There was also some. Here.
From US dollar to gold ounce.
Now it was offered by those who were past the number. Okay. No, that's how many people contributed. So, meh. No, somewhere's an error. Wait.
You're an error.
Either way, it is way too much to reasonably carry for them. That's
either way, we're talking about tons of gold.
They literally had tons of gold that they were just carrying. 150 billion would be 3,000 tons. Sound. Torvik! Hey, Skydus, long time no see. Seems like you're really engaged with this reading. Did you read the story about man resisting dying to eat shit? Are we still talking about the Bible?
I like how you're not sure.
Okay, here's the thing. Torvik is from Russia.
Oh no. oh no.
Oh yeah, also, I don't know if I tagged you, but one of the recent videos I put on YouTube, the one about bitrate, should be helpful for you, Torvik. Because you were uneducated about resolution and that stuff. Basically, that video explains why you should stream in 720p. Who wouldn't deny to eat shit? I bet there's a word for people that have a shitty fetish.
Terminus?
Didn't we agree to not?
Am I wrong?
Could have just said radio, you know? Just replace every instance of that one with radio. See where it leads. Yep, I'm talking about Old Testament. No? What did we... Hey, Teras, recap!
Oh no!
We had
No!
the creation of mankind, I guess, the flood, the repopulation of the earth, the enslaving of the offspring of Adam and Eve, and just like by the Egyptians, the hardening of Pharaoh's
But
heart.
aren't the Egyptians also offspring of
Shut
Adam
up.
and Eve?
No. They are not made from clay. They are made from gravel.
Are they just the shrunken down version of the giants?
Maybe. And then the sons of Israel escaped from Egypt, and
It was really salty for 50 plus
Pharaoh's
years.
army drowned, and then everybody was just pissed off at Moses because, well, we might starve 50 years later. Then Moses went up on Mount Sinai and just talked to the Lord, and the Lord gave a bunch of instructions on what to build for him. Very, very, very precise instructions. What material to use, where to use it, which measurements, where to put it, how to arrange it, when to use it. Very precise instructions. And they followed through. That's what happened so far. So, no, I don't think we had anyone.
Book of Leviticus, question mark.
Maybe he will.
Maybe we're gonna get some fucking plot points now instead of fucking instructions.
Imagine. What does Leviticus actually mean? Because Exodus is because they're leaving Egypt, right? That's why it's called Book of Exodus.
Yeah.
I think. What the fuck is a Leviticus?
Leviticus. Meaning. Leviticus lesson of the Levites. Something blah blah something. Name of which designates content as a book or manual, primarily concerned with priests.
So it's like
members of the priests of tribe of Levi.
What wasn't Levi the one that actually? Can you pull up the? Where's my Discord screen shared? Can you pull up the family tree? Wasn't Levi literally the first one or the last one of Exodus or?
Yeah.
Work.
Oh no, Discord question mark.
Right, I need this. Aha! Then. Huh?
Does it? Wow,
I
you
broke
suck.
it. Fix it and then.
How do you break it? Wasn't it working like flawlessly or something?
Levi. Yeah, there we go. So Levi is just basically where it all started, sort of. Interesting. I read it many years ago. There was a story about one man where the future prophet lived in a poor area, and then he spoke with God about Assyrians. He refused to eat crab to become enlightened. You know,
sounds like God's got quite a fetish.
Normally, I would just say, whatever you just smoked, I want some. But nowadays, I would just say, it sounds like you read the Bible, and I can't wait to get to there. So that's not the New Testament, absolutely. Part was it? Well, it's either the book of Leviticus or the book of Numbers. Remember, honestly, I'm trying to recall the story.
Yeah. You're gonna just go to a party and you're gonna meet some absolute stoner talking some absolute garbage. He's gonna look at him and goes like, "Are you religious?" That would explain a lot.
I'm still not happy with the chat on this, honestly. I think the font, the size needs to be increased. Settings, no text. Yes. 36. Save. See if that becomes more legible.
Hey, your camera froze.
No?
Oh, there we go.
Hold on.
Oh no, Sky has run away. I am one whole entire. So someone calls Kaitis, demand his presence back. Oh, he's back. Hey, Skydus, guess what? Skydus is back.
I think it's time for your antiseptic cream.
Don't tempt me.
Okay, maybe we should do a poll. Who would like to see Teras use his antiseptic cream?
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, can't believe you've done this.
Oh. Wise. The font is still...
That's probably a good choice, my friend.
I'm still not happy with how this looks. Go 32.
Have you tried having like just a darker background for that little section? Just literally insert a square. Wow.
I'll just make the text stroke bigger, maybe then it's better. Hold. I think it just needs to be not white.
I mean, that would probably be a good start. Make it like a grey. You grey fuck.
Gray. Sure. Gray. Holding.
Hold.
Okay, back to important things. I think I found it. I'm pretty sure that it was Ezekiel.
Wow,
that Danny DeVito
ridiculous.
behind Teras. What are you talking about?
Which one?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. That's the name of this brave man who became a prophet. Well, I guess we'll find out.
I guess we'll meet him in due time.
Are you ready? Do we have Ezekiel in the family tree? I don't think so.
Do we? I presume we don't, because we haven't. I don't think we've met him yet. Is he Ezek? No, it doesn't look like we do. Unless he's named differently in our version of the Bible.
I just realized that we have a slight problem. I know why your cam froze. So apparently I have to have the window in the foreground work. So if I have your Discord stream on in focus, then your cam is the thing is not in the foreground, so it'll freeze. So rip. And I only have 3 monitors, and I need one of it for the chat, one for the Bible, so I only have one to spare.
Wow, imagine having so few monitors.
Yeah. Maybe we can come up with another way for the camera for the future. I think I stalled enough. Let's get back into the fun part.
Book of Leviticus.
Leviticus 1. Then the Lord called Moses and spoke to him from the tabernacle of the testimony, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, and you shall say to them, The man among you who will offer to the Lord a sacrifice from the cattle, that is, an offering of victims of oxen or sheep, if his offspring will be a holocaust, as well as from the herd, he shall offer an immaculate male at the door of the tabernacle of the testimony to make himself pleasing to the Lord. What? So, the person that offers a sacrifice of cattle, so sacrifices oxen or sheep, if his offering is a holocaust, and also from the herd, which, well, if it's sheep or oxen, then it's from the herd by definition, you shall offer an immaculate male. So I guess the sheep or oxen needs to be immaculate and male?
Apparently females get no love regardless of their species.
They get love, but they have to fight strongly for it, using alcohol on their parents.
Oh no. Oh no.
You see, I'm not lying. I wonder how brave were the people in these old times. such warmth regarding this legendary personalities. Sure.
Sure thing, buddy.
Have you been on YouTube the past few years? Have you seen some of the challenges? Ice bucket challenge, cinnamon, whatever challenge.
Should I go get a Tide Pod?
Yes, Tide Pod challenge.
Is that what we're doing now? Can I get one?
Yeah.
Do I like just grab one and can chew it? Does that mean I need to actually order Tide Pods because I don't have any? I have dishwasher tablets. I can chew on them.
And he shall place his hands on the head of the sacrifice, and so it shall be acceptable and effective in its expiation.
What? Where the fuck? Expiation, yeah.
And he shall immolate the calf in the sight of the Lord, and the priests, the sons of triple Aaron, shall offer its blood, pouring it all over the altar, which is before the door of the tabernacle. And having pulled away the skin of the victim, they shall cut up the joints into pieces. This is my last resort. And they shall toss fire, And they shall toss fire under the altar, having arranged before it a stack of wood. Are you okay, Teras?
I am not okay. It's how casually you slipped it in. Just perfectly.
I see an opportunity, I use it. Yeah, that's how I take it. That's
not enough alcohol.
Nope. But I think these guys are just dumb on YouTube. These people in old times did exploits to promote their great ideas. That's the big difference. I mean, one of them was pretty smart. The guy that came up with the whole lie of, I've spoken to the Lord, and he told me, give me all your money and build this. I've spoken to the Lord, and he said,
churches.
I've spoken to the Lord, and he said, build a mansion for Moses and let him sleep in it and don't disturb him. And if you do not do this, you shall die a death. Want to eat when you read it like this? What do you want to eat?
Question mark.
And they shall lay the parts which are cut up in order upon it, namely the head and all the things that adjoin to the liver, the intestines and feet having been washed with water. And the priest shall burn them on the altar as a holocaust and as a sweet odor to the Lord. But if the offering is from the flocks, a holocaust either of sheep or goats, he shall offer a male without blemish. And he shall immolate it at the side of the altar which looks out toward the north, in the sight of the Lord. Yet truly, the sons of triple Aaron shall pour its blood upon the altar all around. And they shall divide the limbs, the head, and everything that adjoins to the liver, and they shall place them on the wood under which the fire is to be thrown.
What?
Yet truly, the intestines and their feet they shall wash with water. And the priest, having offered everything, shall burn it upon the altar as a holocaust, and as a most sweet odor to the Lord. But if the oblation of a holocaust to the Lord is of birds, either of turtle doves or young pigeons, the priest shall offer it at the altar, and twisting back the neck with the head, also rupturing the place of the wound, he shall make the blood run down over the edge of the altar. Yet truly, the craw of the throat and the feathers he shall cast near the altar at the eastern section, in the place where the ashes are usually poured out. And he shall break its wing joints, but he shall neither cut nor divide it with metal, and he shall burn it upon the altar, placing fire under the wood. It is a holocaust and an oblation of a most sweet odor to the Lord. So the Lord is just like this sort of weird psychopath sadist that just enjoys watching killing. So
Yes.
I'm just picturing sort of like what's the guy, the antagonist from Saw called? Got the name.
I'm sorry, Torvik, you can't be selective. It's both are the Bible. You can't just be selective in what you believe.
Lord can be so bloodthirsty. The New Testament can't understand the cruel ideas in Old Testament. Times were different back then.
I mean, this is the original. This is the OG God. This is what God was like. This is it. No. The New Testament is the lies that they tell you to cover up what God was like. So you give them money.
You heard it here first. You pick individual letters from the Bible, you can make up every story you want.
Isn't that true of the alphabet as well?
And also, no, it's not true. I cannot make a story that involves the sharp S or any umlaut. Or any other accented characters, in fact. So, wrong.
I can't believe you've done this. You picky fuck.
You forgot to add the space, by the way. Leviosatu. No space.
There doesn't need to be one.
When his soul will offer an oblation of sacrifice to the Lord, his oblation shall be of fine wheat flour, and he shall pour oil over it, and he shall set down frankincense.
What?
I think that's necrophilia.
Franken? What the fuck?
Remember, you replaced incense with incest, so what is frankincense? I don't even know what that is.
Frankincense. It's frankincense, an aromatic raisin used in incense and perfumes obtained from trees of the genus Boswellia in the family Borasicaceae. The word is from Old French franc and caisse. There were several species of Boswellia that produced true frankincense. Blah blah plant names. It's a thing. It's a thing that smells, and it's used in things that smell like incense, perfumes. I presume maybe even candles and shit like that. And yeah, apparently it's really fucking expensive.
I just
Holy
looked it up.
fucking shit!
It's one of the three things that the three dudes brought when Jesus was born. They brought like gold, myrrh, or whatever it's called, and frankincense.
Yeah, it's really expensive.
Yeah, you know what else is really expensive? Thousands of tons of gold.
100 milliliters of it, of pure, whatever that shit is like 1.2 thousand fucking pounds or some shit. Like, it's fucking expensive.
And he shall set down frankincense, and he shall bring it to the sons of triple Aaron, the priests. Well, back then they just had everything. So is it yes.
They apparently had it in fucking bulk.
I said that, but Teras talked over me, so you didn't hear.
It's just what I do.
One of them shall take a handful of the flour with oil, as well as all the frankincense, and he shall place it as a memorial upon the altar, as a most sweet odor to the Lord. Then what will remain of the sacrifices shall be for triple Aaron and his sons, the holy of holies from the oblation of the Lord. But when you will offer a sacrifice baked in the oven from fine wheat flour, specifically loaves without leaven, sprinkled with oil, and unleavened wafers rubbed with oil. If your oblation will be from the frying pan of flour tempered with oil and without leaven, you shall divide it into little pieces and pour oil over it. But if the sacrifice will be from the oven grating, equally the fine wheat flour shall be sprinkled with oil. When you are offering it to the Lord, you shall deliver it into the hands of the priest. I just love how he's like, yeah, you gotta make sacrifices and offerings for me, but I only accept these three. Basically, it's just, if you offer anything else to me, just fuck off.
Brilliant.
Weird, picky dude.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
And when he has offered it, he shall take a memorial from the sacrifice and burn it upon the altar as a most sweet odor to the Lord. But whatever is left shall be for triple Aaron and his sons, the holy of holies, from the oblation of the Lord. Every oblation that is offered to the Lord shall be made without leaven. Neither shall any leaven or honey be burned with the sacrifice to the Lord. You shall
They
offer.
really didn't like leaving, did they?
Yeah, they're really leaving it out, huh? That's the quote. And you take wheat and barley, beans and lentils, millet and spelt, put them into one vessel, and make bread for yourself. Not so bad, right? All grains are good for health, heart health. Oh, wait, God continues. You shall eat it as a barley cake, baking it in their sight on human dung. Yep, that's right. Human dung. For over a year, Ezekiel must eat food that has been prepared over burning feces. You know, just when you thought the Bible couldn't get any more shitty.
Oh. So he goes from being all powerful to kind of powerful to doing just magic tricks to being out of power. So he's just being a cruel fuck at that point.
He just has a fetish. That's literally all. You shall offer only the first fruits of these along with the gifts. Yet truly, these shall not be placed upon the altar as an odor of sweetness. Whatever sacrifice you will offer, you shall season it with salt. Neither shall you take away the salt of the covenant of your scitus from your sacrifice. In all your oblations, you shall offer salt. What about radio, though? But if you... Oh. But if you will offer a gift of the first fruits of your grain to the Lord, from ears of the grain still green, you shall parch it at the fire, and break it open in the manner of a meal. And so shall you offer... Teras,
Yes.
what are you doing?
Fly.
Okay, I just want to point out of the corner of my eye that looked like something that might be more related to something next to you, so...
No, I just have a fruit fly flying about. It's like somewhere that way now. But it was like in front of me, so I was swatting it away because it's fly.
Okay, good. Salt everywhere.
Fly go buzz.
Manner of a meal. And so shall you offer your first fruits to the Lord, pouring oil over it, imposing frankincense, because it is an oblation of the blood. From this, the priest shall burn, as a memorial of the gift, a portion of the cracked grain and the oil, as well as all of the frankincense.
I'll return shortly.
Don't worry, you're not gonna miss anything of interest.
Yeah, I know.
I think he just wanted to show off his underwear. Why does it actually suggest this? What the fuck? No. Leviosa 3. But if his oblation will be a sacrifice of peace offerings, and he wishes to offer it from the oxen, whether male or female, he shall offer what is immaculate in the sight of the Lord. And he shall place his hand upon the head of his victim, which shall be immolated at the entrance of the tabernacle of the testimony. And the sons of triple Aaron, the priests, shall pour the blood all around the altar. I just want to point out, so if you say, regardless of what you sacrifice, you place your hand on its head, it shall be killed, and then the priest will spill the blood everywhere. But they still feel the need to explicitly mention that it has to be done with every single one of them. Instead of just being like, okay, so regardless of what you sacrifice, blood everywhere, and this is the specifics. No, they just got a list every time. I never read it in English, I just didn't know how to convert the definitions and names. Symbolism, this episode, is that Jewish people have to live among the dirty nations and eat their bread. It means that dirty nations are compared with human dung. Bible is just... There's nothing you can add to the Bible to... You cannot save it. It is not real. Its soul cannot be redeemed.
No, the Bible is not. Just don't Bible. Do not Bible. $20 fine.
And they shall offer from the sacrifice of peace offerings as an oblation to the Lord, the fat which covers the vital organs, and whatever fat is interior. I mean, all fat is interior technically, isn't it?
Well, unless you extract it.
But at the moment of sacrifice, why does it mention female oxen?
Well, what if you open it? What if you just cut them open? You know, like you just go slice.
Well, obviously it's not internal anymore at that point, but I presume that it's implied that where it originated from, and it originated from internal. So I would still call it internal, I guess.
But what if it's cut open? It's not inside.
What if you cut your life into pieces? Make sure to maintain eye contact. Where was I? And whatever fat is interior, the 2 kidneys with the fat that covers the sides, and the mesh of the liver with the 2 little kidneys. And they shall burn them upon the altar as a holocaust, placing fire under the wood, as an oblation of a most sweet odor to the Lord. Yet truly, if his oblation and the sacrifice of peace offerings will be from the sheep, whether he will offer a male or a female, they shall be immaculate. If he will offer a lamb in the sight of the Lord, he shall place his hand upon the head of the victim, and it shall be immolated at the vestibule of the tabernacle of testimony. And the sons of triple Aaron shall pour its blood all around the altar.
I have a question. I've been kind of too afraid to ask for a while, but it keeps getting repeated. What's a tabernacle?
That's basically the one of the things they had to build. The tabernacle of testimony is basically their holy temple where they do all the sacrificing things.
Right. Okay, I'm with you so far.
Just like they also had to build that other, not the Noah Ark, the other Ark. That's just one of the things. There's no symbolism in the Bible. Mostly a book with diets and how to build a tabernacle. and how to confuse your people. Everyone shall ascend, but only Moses shall ascend. And I shall walk up the mountain upside down. For I am the Lord.
I'm going to descend up the mountain.
Yes.
I have thought about that, by the way, and I realized there's only one scenario where that makes sense. If he descended from heaven down to the top of the mountain.
Oh, you realized? Good.
Yeah.
But
it took me a while.
But the problem is still, it's probably a translation error, but the thing is still, he descended up the mountain. It's not he descended to the top of, or to the up of the mountain. He descended up.
To the up of the mountain.
Yes. Yeah. Like, I descended up the escalator. How?
Well, technically you could, because you could walk up it.
I guess if it's
slower than it's taking you downwards.
If it's if it's not the normal stairs, like an actual escalator, like the mechanical ones, whatever the fuck you call them. If you go in the opposite direction,
yeah.
Then so let's say you're at the top and you're going downwards, but it is going upwards. Then you are descending, but it's taking you upwards.
Yeah.
So basically, the Lord was walking down a conveyor belt that was going upwards.
Maybe there was like an avalanche or something, and he was just walking up.
Yeah,
up it, and it was taking him down.
Some sort of force made him go back, but he was going in the opposite direction. Yeah, that would work. Go with that.
Yeah, we learned something new.
You know, it's the stairway to heaven, or from heaven, rather, I guess.
It's just an escalator.
Yeah, the sequel to Stairway to Heaven, Escalator from Heaven.
That escalated quickly.
I think it took him quite a while to escalate. And they shall offer from the victim of peace offerings as a sacrifice to the Lord the fat and the entire rump with the kidneys and the fat that covers the abdomen and all the vital organs, and both the little kidneys with the fat that is near the sides and the mesh of the liver with the little kidneys. What?
Whose kidneys?
So they're offering the fat and the entire rump with the kidneys. Fat that covers the abdomen, all the vital organs, and both the little kidneys with the fat that is near the sides, the mesh of the liver, with the little kidneys. I have one question. Just one. I just have one question. We're talking about lambs. How many kidneys did a lamb have back in the days?
Apparently, a lot.
At least 6, because it's always multiple. So it's rump with the kidneys, so at least 2, and all the vital organs and both the little kidneys, so another 2, and the mesh of the liver with the little kidneys, so another 2. So we can conclude lambs back in the days had at least 6 kidneys.
Brilliant.
Just
That is
Bible
absolutely fucking hilarious.
Just Bible things.
Yeah, just Bible things. A lot of kidneys.
Really enjoyed Baptist TV show made by Kenneth and Gloria Couplands. Pretty good American show about Bible, and it's never heard of it. And here's one thing that I can already say without ever having seen it or heard of it: can't be as good at this as this.
No, it can't. There's just not a way.
Cannot compete with this. I think way too fucking cruel, isn't it? No, I think literally exterminating all but 2 humans and plenty of animals just because humans are evil. That's pretty cruel.
It was 8 humans, you uneducated swine. Because it was his 3 sons and their 2 wives. They're each one of them the wife.
Look at you, Mister. I pretend to have paid attention and just make up facts on the spot.
I it's just what I do.
Good. And the priest shall burn them upon the altar, as fuel for the fire and as an oblation of the lard. If his oblation will be a goat, and he will offer it to the Lord, he shall place his hand upon its head, and he shall immolate it at the entrance of the tabernacle of the tent.
They like emulating things, don't they?
Yes. And the sons of triple Aaron shall pour its blood all around the altar. And they
Why
shall
are
take...
you suddenly reading it so softly?
Because I'm going soft.
Boy, we have to change that real quick now.
And they shall take from it to feed the Lord's fire the fat which covers the abdomen, and that which covers all the vital organs, the 2 little kidneys with the mesh that is over them near the sides, and the fat of the liver with the little kidneys. Once again, we just learned that, what is it, goat? Talking about goats? Yes. So goats had at least 4 kidneys. The liver with the kidneys. And the priest shall burn them upon the altar as nourishment for the fire and as a most sweet odor. And all the fat shall be for the lard. By a perpetual law in your generations and in all of your habitations, neither blood nor fat shall you eat at all.
Well, that's kind of strict. I mean, fat is kind of intertwined with the meat, so it'd be really hard just to get clean meat without any fat in it, you know?
Yes, it's just any fat that you can easily take off. You're not allowed to or something.
No, that doesn't specify. It specifies any fat.
No, it doesn't.
You can't just start making shit up.
Have you read the Bible, Teras? That's literally all they do.
No, this is gold rules we should go by. You're just making stuff up. I don't know. You're just pulling facts.
No, Teras. The gold rule that was in Exodus. All the rules on how to process your gold and how to build stuff. Leviticus 4.
Brilliant.
And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, say to the sons of Israel, the soul which will have sinned through ignorance and concerning any of the commandments of the Lord that he instructed not to be done, if anything at all has been done, if the priest who is anointed will have sinned, causing the people to commit a transgression, he shall offer to the Lord for his sin an immaculate calf.
Anointed, but I don't have any oils.
Anointed, but I don't even play anointer. And he shall lead it to the door of the tabernacle of the testimony in the sight of the Lord. And he shall place his hand upon its head, and he shall immolate it to the Lord. Likewise, he shall take the blood from the calf, carrying it into the tabernacle of the testimony. And having dipped his fingers into the blood, he shall sprinkle it 7 times in the sight of the Lord, opposite the veil of the sanctuary. And he shall place some of the same blood over the horns of the altar of most pleasing incense to the Lord, which is in the tabernacle of the testimony. Then he shall pour out the remainder of the blood at the base of the altar of holocaust at the entrance of the tabernacle.
I have a question.
Shut up. If someone doesn't follow the rules, punch the calf. Yes. Teras?
Is it 7, the 7 sprinkles, is that 7 individual, like, droplets, or does he have to dip his hand 7 times?
He shall sprinkle it, the blood. So I guess you can only dip your hand in once if you still have enough blood on your fingers. So basically, dip your hand in and then like 1, 2, 3, and maybe if it's not enough blood, dip it back in again and then just 7 times.
Okay, thank you very much.
And on behalf of the sin, he shall take the fat of the calf, both that which covers the vital organs and all that is interior, the 2 little kidneys and the mesh that is on them near the sides, and the fat of the liver with the little kidneys, just as is taken from the calf of the sacrifice of peace offerings. And he shall burn them upon the altar of holocaust. Yet truly, the skin and all the flesh, with the head and the feet, and the intestines and the dung, first mention of dung, by the way, in the Bible, I believe, and the remainder of the body he shall carry away beyond the camp to the clean place where ashes are usually poured out. And he shall burn them upon a stack of wood. There, in the place where the ashes have been poured, they will be burned. 7 sprinkle movements with at least 1 drop of blood each. Yes. Don't get me wrong, but I think the Old Testament, the religion of Jewish people, in the New Testament is the description of Christianity, religion of most Europeans. The one of Russians are Europeans.
Don't Jewish people have their own book? And isn't the Old Testament part of the Bible of Christianity, which means you're false?
I think so, on both of them. But it's all just somebody made up a story once, and then everyone just sort of copied it but modified it slightly, and there you have your origin of religions.
Thanks, Mr. Burns. Very cool. Thanks.
Also can't,
I needed that in my life.
While we're at it, you also can't spell without dogs. So that's where doxing came from originally. But if all the crowd of Israel will have been ignorant, and through inexperience will have done what is contrary to the commandment of the Lord, and afterwards shall understand their sin, they shall offer a calf on behalf of their sin, and they shall lead it to the door of the tabernacle. Okay, I just need to... You probably missed it. There was something very important there. If all of the crowd of Israel, so if every single person, every single Israelite has been ignorant, so basically has sinned, then it's fine to offer a single calf.
So as long as one person is actively practicing, they're all fine.
No. If you sin, it was already mentioned before, we just read that. If you sin, you have to sacrifice a calf. So if 10 people sin, 10 calf. If 100 people sin, 100 calves. 1,000 people, 1,000. Every single one, you're back to 1. Sort of like an overflow glitch.
Yeah, it's when the numbers flip.
Yes.
So Gandhi went to war in Civ.
Yeah. I know this. And the elders of the people shall place their hands upon its head in the sight of the Lord. And when the calf has been immolated in the sight of the Lord, the priest who is anointed shall carry some of its blood into the tabernacle of the testimony, and he shall dip his fingers in it, sprinkling it 7 times opposite the veil. Literally do the exact same as mentioned before, but we're just going to write it all out in detail again. And he shall place some of the same blood on the horns of the altar, which is in the presence of the Lord in the tabernacle of the testimony. remainder of the blood he shall pour it at the base of the altar of Holocaust, which is at the door of the tabernacle of the testimony, and he shall take all its fat and burn it on the altar, doing so with this calf in the same manner as he did before. And while the priest is praying for them, the Lord will forgive them. Oh, so you're guaranteed forgiveness if you do this. Cool. So if a bunch of people sin, you just need to talk everyone else into sinning, and then you basically only need absolution once, instead of every single person needing it. Like a pretty good deal. But the calf itself he shall carry away beyond the camp, and he shall also burn it, just as with the previous calf, because it is for the sin of the multitude. If a leader will have sinned, and through ignorance will have done one of the many things which the law of the Lord prohibits, many, many, many things, and afterwards he shall understand his sin. By the way, I also want to point out, if you sin, and afterwards you don't understand that you have sinned, you're fine. So I guess they were already very considerate of people with like mental disabilities, and
who knew the Bible was inclusive?
What's the politically correct way of referring to those people? Underdeveloped? I don't fucking know what. If you're one of those and you sin just because you don't know any better, basically, as long as you don't ever find out that you sinned, you're good.
Someone tells you, by the way, that was a sin, and you're like, oh, fuck off, son of a bitch.
Never tell me the odds. Surprised that the calves didn't go extinct. I guess many of them, they were very law-abiding citizens, apparently. So if a leader has sinned, afterwards understands that he shall offer an immaculate he-goat from among the goats as a sacrifice to the Lord. And he shall place his hand upon its head, and when he will have immolated it in the place where the Holocaust is usually slain in the sight of the Lord, because it is sin, the priest shall dip his finger in the blood of the victim for sin, touching the horns of the altar of Holocaust, pouring it out of the remnant at its base. Yet truly the fat shall burn upon it, just as is usually done with the victims of peace offerings, and the priest shall pray for him and for his sin, and he shall be released from it. Woo! I want to go home. But if a soul from the people of the land will have sinned through ignorance, so as to have done any of those things that the law of the Lord prohibits, and so commit a transgression, he shall realize his sin. He shall offer an immaculate she-goat.
Oh no.
And he shall place his hand upon the head of the victim for sin. And he shall immolate it in the place of the Holocaust. The priest shall finger out of the altar of the Holocaust, and he shall pour out the remainder at its base, by taking away all the fat, just as is usually taken away from the victims of peace offerings. He shall burn it upon the altar as a sweet odor to the Lord, and he shall pray for him, and he shall be released from it. But if instead you will offer from a flock a victim for a sin, specifically an immaculate female sheep, he shall place his hand upon its head, and he shall immolate it in the place where the victims of Holocaust are usually slain. And the priest shall take some of its blood with his finger, touching their horns at the altar of Holocaust. He shall pour out the remainder at its base. Likewise, all of the fat shall be taken away, just as the fat of the ram, immolated for a peace offering, is usually taken away. And he shall burn upon the altar as an incense of the Lord. And he shall pray for him and for his sin, and he shall be released from it. So basically, literally the same. You can use both. It can be a goat or a, what was the other one? Sheep or whatever the fuck I specifically mentioned both, even though it's literally the same. What happens if you sacrifice a goat of the wrong gender? Well,
you die a death.
It's very simple. If you do everything right, you're released from your sin. So you can logically conclude, if you do not do everything right, you are not released from your sin.
But how do you know that if you're not released from your sin?
Look at your How's the food?
It's running out.
Yeah.
I'm eating.
Just like the lamp is running kidneys.
I'm eating poultry pate with tomatoes straight out of the tin with a butter knife.
Really? You are? I can't tell.
I ran out of butter, not butter, bread. I have butter. I'm gonna eat butter next. I just don't have bread.
Make a knife. Butter knife. Get a reminder on your app. Well, the Bible version of that would be you might just get struck down by lightning. Continue? How much longer are you gonna keep doing this?
Until I ran out of butter.
I somehow doubt that. Fun.
I am eating fat. To be fair.
I have so many questions, but I already know the answer to every single one of them. Most of them are some variation of what is wrong with you.
I think you might be underestimating what I'm capable of.
Toast butter.
It's actually quite nice. It's made with real butter, so it's not 100% real butter, but it is quite creamy.
I can't
do
believe
quite
it's
like
not
it.
butter.
No, it does actually. It is mostly actually butter. But
Butter? You know her.
ingredients: 78% fat.
How many percent kidneys?
Milk, fat, something, oil, something. Butter, oil, water, salt. No kidneys. Just fat.
Leviosa 5. If a soul will have sinned and heard the voice of one testifying under oath, and he is a witness because either he has seen it himself or he is aware of it, does not reveal it, he shall carry his iniquity. The soul that will have touched anything unclean, either that which has been killed by a beast, or that which has died on its own, or any other creeping thing, and will have forgotten its uncleanness, he is guilty and has committed a transgression. Wait. So if you eat anything unclean, so any animal that has been killed by another animal, or any animal that just died, that's a sin. So you're only allowed to eat what you actually hunt yourself, basically, or kill yourself. Wait, you haven't even finished your meal.
I need water.
And if you will have touched anything from the uncleanness of man, according to every kind of impurity by which he may be defiled, and having forgotten it, afterwards realizes it, he shall be guilty of committing a transgression. So once again, as long as you don't realize that you've sinned and you're not made aware of it, you have not technically sinned. The soul who swears and offers from his own lips that he would do either evil or good will have bound the same with an oath with his words, and forgotten it, afterwards understands his transgression. Let him do penance for his sin, and let him offer from the flocks a female lamb or a she-goat, and the priest shall pray for him and for his sin. But if he is not able to offer a beast, let him offer 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons to the Lord, one for sin and the other for a holocaust. So is this just once again laying down the law, but more of like how to undo your sins? Gonna be a bunch of instructions.
Yes.
Can I go home?
Maybe. And the cat peasants here.
Okay, that means I can go home.
I
You agree?
insist.
And he shall give them to the priest, who, offering the first for sin, shall twist back its head, the little wings, so that it adheres to the neck and is not entirely broken off. And he shall sprinkle some of its blood at the side of the altar. Whatever will remain, he shall cause it to drip down to the base, for sin. Yet truly, the other he shall burn as a holocaust, just as is usually done. And the priest shall pray for him for a sin, and he shall be released from it. But if his hand is unable to offer 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, he shall offer for a sin the 10th part of an ephah of fine wheat flour. He shall not put oil in it, nor place upon it any frankincense for sin. He shall deliver it to the priest, who shall take a handful of it, shall burn it upon the altar as a memorial for him who offered it, praying for him and making atonement. Yet truly, the remaining part he himself shall have as a gift. Oh, so you actually get paid for being a priest.
Oh well, of course. It's
The
currency can be exchanged for goods and services.
altar must be covered in blood by now. By now, yeah. I don't know how many people sinned back then, so not. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, if a soul, by mistake, shall have transgressed the ceremonies in those things that are sanctified to the Lord, he shall offer for his offense an immaculate ram from the flocks, such as can be bought for 2 shekels, according to the weight of the sanctuary. So apparently the Lord just defined the price of things? And he shall make restitution for the damage that he has brought, and he shall add a 5th part more, delivering it to the priest, who shall pray for him while offering the ram, and he shall be released from it. If a soul will have sinned through ignorance, and will have done one of those things which the law of the Lord prohibits, and, being guilty of sin, understands his iniquity, he shall offer from the flocks an immaculate ram to the priest, according to the measure and estimation of his sin. He shall pray for him. Because he did it unknowingly, he shall be released from it. Because by mistake he transgressed against the Lord. This shit. Leviosa 6. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, the soul who will have sinned and, despising the Lord, will have denied his neighbor the deposit which he had entrusted to his safekeeping, or who will have extorted anything by force, or who will have made a false accusation, or who will have found a lost thing and then also withheld it by swearing falsely, or who will have done any other of the many things by which men usually sin. Convicted of the offense, he shall restore all that he wanted to obtain by fraud. The whole plus an additional 5th part to the owner against whom he brought the damage. That's pretty reasonable, actually. Till you win, Teras.
That's not a leak, unfortunately.
Life leak. Then, on behalf of his sin, he shall offer an immaculate ram from the flock, and shall give it to the priest, according to the estimation and measure of the offense. And he shall pray for him in the sight of the Lord, and he shall be released from any one of those things that he did when he sinned. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, instruct triple Aaron and his sons. This is the law of the Holocaust. It shall be burned upon the altar all night until morning. The fire shall be from the same altar. The priest shall be vested with the tunic and the linen undergarments, and he shall take up the ashes of that which the devouring fire has consumed, and, placing it next to the altar, he shall strip off his former vestments, and being clothed with others, he shall carry them beyond the camp, and he shall cause them to be consumed, even to glowing embers in a very clean place. But the fire on the altar shall burn always. The priest shall nourish it by placing wood under it each day in the morning. Basically just putting in morning. And laying down the Holocaust.
Oh!
There'll be 2 lamps and a ram, please.
Oh, fuck. Can I owe you until next Tuesday?
Will be 3 lamps then, but yeah.
Ah, fuck. Hate interest.
And laying down the Holocaust, he shall burn the fat of the peace offerings upon it. This is the perpetual fire which shall never fail upon the altar.
What if it does?
No.
Yes.
Yes, sirree.
Mm.
This is the law of the sacrifice and the libations which the sons of triple Aaron shall offer in the sides of the Lord and before the altar. The priest shall take a handful of fine wheat flour which has been sprinkled with oil and all the frankincense which has been placed upon the flour, and he shall burn it upon the altar as a memorial of most sweet odor to the Lord. The remaining portion of the flour triple Aaron shall eat with his sons without leaven. And he shall eat it in the holy place, in the atrium of the tabernacle. Yet, for this reason, it shall not be leavened, because part of it offered as an incest of the Lord. The Holy of Holies shall it be, just as what is offered on behalf of sin and of transgression. Only males of the stock of triple Aaron shall eat it. This shall be an everlasting ordinance in your generations concerning the sacrifices of the Lord. All who will touch these shall be sanctified. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, This is the oblation of triple Aaron and of his sons. They must offer to the Lord in the day of their anointing. They shall offer 1/10 part of an ephah fine wheat flour as a perpetual sacrifice, half of it in the morning, half of it in the evening. It shall be sprinkled with oil and fried in a frying pan. Then it shall be offered hot as a most sweet odor to the Lord, by the priest who by law succeeds his daddy. It shall be entirely burned on the altar, for every sacrifice of the priest shall be consumed by fire, neither shall anyone eat from it. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Say to triple Aaron and his sons, This is the law of the victim for sin. In the place where the Holocaust is offered, it shall be immolated in the sight of the Lord. It is the Holy of Holies. The priest who offers it shall eat it in the holy place, the atrium of the tabernacle. Whatever will touch its flesh shall be sanctified. The garment will be sprinkled with its blood, it shall be washed in a holy place. Then the earthen vessel which it was soaked shall be broken. The vessel will be of brass, it shall be scoured, washed with water. Every male of priestly descent shall feed on its own flesh, because it is the Holy of Holies. For the victim that is slain for sin, whose blood is carried into the tabernacle of the testimony, expiation in the sanctuary, shall not be eaten, but it shall be consumed by fire.
Wow. That's quite a lot of blood and burning and holy things, and wow.
Churches are big oofs. I want to go back to the fun part where stuff actually happens and not just
Yeah, that'd be helpful. That was actually fun.
And laws. It's been a while since we had some fun stories happening. Now, the book of Genesis was actually really fucking good, and then Exodus just all went downhill, just like that horse image. The sad part is, Leviosa literally picks up where Exodus starts in terms of quality and goes further. We're just ever descending state of quality. Gets worse and worse.
Terrible. Blame Cat Peasant.
Leviosa 7. Likewise, this is the law of the sacrifice for a transgression. Is the Holy of Holies. Therefore, where the Holocaust is immolated, the victim for a transgression shall also be slain. Blood shall be poured out all around the altar. No, it's Leviosa.
Leviosa.
They shall offer from it the rump fat that covers the vital organs, 2 little kidneys, and the fat that is near the sides, mesh of the liver with the little kidneys. And the priest shall burn them upon the altar. It is the incest of the lard on behalf of a transgression. Every male of priestly descent shall feed on this flesh in a holy place, because it is holy, because it is the holy of holies. Just as the sacrifice for sin is offered, so also for a transgression. One law shall be for both sacrifices. It shall belong to the priest who offers it. The priest who offers the victim of Holocaust shall have it. Every sacrifice of fine wheat flour which is baked in the oven, and whatever is prepared on the oven grating or in the frying pan, shall be for the priest who offers it.
They have frying pans?
That now?
Yes.
Like the 4th or 5th mention of frying.
Well, I'm clearly paying attention, so I think you're wrong.
Whether these will be sprinkled with oil or left dry, an equal measure shall be divided to each one of the sons of Aaron. This is the law of the victim of peace offerings, which is offered to the Lord. If the oblation will be an act for giving thanks, they shall offer bread without leaven, sprinkled with oil, and unleavened wafers anointed with oil, and fine wheat flour, fried, and cakes sprinkled with and cake sprinkled and mixed with oil, and also leavened bread, sacrifice of thanksgiving, immolated for peace offerings. Of these, one shall be offered to the Lord as the first fruit, and one shall be for the priest who will pour out the blood of the victim. The flesh of it shall be eaten on the same day, neither shall any of it remain until morning. Anyone, by a vow or his own accord, will have offered a sacrifice. It shall be eaten in a similar manner on the same day. Then, if any of it will have remained until tomorrow, it is lawful to eat.
What?
What?
Why?
So,
What?
if you offer something as a sacrifice, it should be eaten on the same day. But if anything remains, then it's okay to eat. So,
What? Are you okay? Was that hearable?
was it terrible? The Bible is terrible.
Oh, you.
Hey, cat peasant. Figured out that we can do something more amazing than cat pee pad. Teras, do your thing.
Oh, yeah. Wait. There's a delay. I can't see shit. Where the fuck is it? I know what I'm doing. Wait, yeah, there you go. I'm just watching the stream version, and there's just like a severe delay. Oh, fucking hell. Brilliant.
Then whatever will be found on the 3rd day shall be consumed with fire. So, if you eat that alongside with a matchstick, you're fine?
He's kind of, would you like to have a shiny head?
Paris, you want to do your foot thing?
We both know that's a terrible idea.
So you're gonna do it.
It's already been told by Mr. Burns not to.
Hey, cat peasant, would you like Teras to use his antiseptic cream?
Oh. Are
you okay?
Why are you so keen for people to see this? I'm trying.
Why wouldn't I? You know why.
I mean, there's a level of comedic value to it, however.
Yeah. It's free content. I don't even have to do anything for it. anyone will have eaten from the flesh of the victim of the peace offering on the third day, the oblation will be nullified. Neither will it benefit the one who offered it. But instead, whatever soul will contaminate itself with such food will be guilty of a betrayal. I think that might be the first mention of the word betrayal.
You sure?
See? Go do a search. Got reading to do.
No.
The flesh that has touched anything unclean shall not be eaten, but it shall be burnt with fire. He that is clean will feed on it. This is where the kill it with fire came from.
Feet.
The soul which is polluted will have eaten from the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings which is offered to the Lord. He shall perish from his people. And whoever will have touched the uncleanness of man, or of beast, or of anything which is able to defile, and who will have eaten from this kind of flesh, shall be cut off from his people. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, say to the sons of Israel, the fat of a sheep, and of an ox, and of a goat you shall not eat.
When can I eat defiled flesh?
You refile it.
That's how you become a sex offender.
We'll file that one under later. The fat of a carcass that has died on its own, or of an animal that has been seized by a wild beast, you shall have for various uses. Not allowed to eat it, because that was already mentioned before. If anyone will have eaten the fat which ought to be offered as a burnt sacrifice to the Lord, he shall perish from his people. Likewise, you shall not take as food the blood of any animals at all, whether of birds or beasts. Every soul that will have eaten blood shall perish from his people. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the sons of Israel, saying, whoever offers a victim of peace offerings to the Lord, let him also offer at the same time a sacrifice that is its libations. He shall hold in his hands the fat of the victim and the breast. And when he will have offered and consecrated both to the Lord, he shall deliver them to the priest, who shall burn fat upon the altar. The breast shall be for triple Aaron. Why?
No, I had to. I had no choice.
I know what you did, but you're ruining my reading flow. Who shall burn the fat upon the altar, but the breast shall be for triple Aaron and his sons. Likewise, also the right shoulder of the victim of peace offerings shall fall to the priests as first fruit. Among the sons of triple Aaron, whoever will have offered the blood and the fat, the same one shall also have the right shoulder of his portion. So then, the breast that is lifted up and the shoulder that is separated, I have taken from the sons of Israel, from their victims of peace offerings. I have given these to triple Aaron the priest and his sons, as a law in perpetuity. And from all the people of Israel. This is the anointing of triple Aaron and his sons by the ceremonies of the Lord, in the day when Moses offered them, so that they may fulfill the priesthood. And this is what the Lord instructed to be given to them by the sons of Israel as a perpetual observance in it. This is the law of the Holocaust, and of the sacrifice for sin and for transgression, and for consecration, for the victims of peace offering, which the Lord appointed to Moses on Mount Sinai, when he commanded the sons of Israel to offer their oblations to the Lord in the desert of Sin. Wait, does that mean we're done with fucking sacrificial sin undoing rules? I mean, they basically just said this is, and then just. Also, I feel
the refill.
Yeah, that's another reason.
Good thing I have my crap close to me.
Yeah, that's another reason why I wanted you the stream thing.
Oh my fucking god. Yeah, fine. Fucking.
I'll be gone. You entertain the people.
No, fuck. Foot. Cream. Cream on foot. Car polisher. applied. I fucking hope Skytus is happy now. That's how you apply antiseptic cream to your foot. Yeah. 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 Someone call Skytus back. Because I don't know how to entertain people. I've done my bit. Like, beyond.
I just realized that I've had way too little alcohol.
Haha, not enough.
How did the entertaining go?
Yeah, I don't know. The chat went quiet. A few of them may have left.
Good. We're just filtering out the unworthy. That is true.
What you got there, Skydis?
What do you think?
I don't know. I don't guess.
Wait, you don't want to play the game with me where you guess kind of juice I'm drinking?
No.
You don't want to play the game called...
Speaking of Jews.
My favorite game.
Yeah.
Don't say it, shut up! So, yes, what is...
Oh, fuck.
I'll give you a hint, it's actually not juice.
Oh. What you drinking, buddy?
I literally already told you it's the same as before.
How is it? Okay, well, I don't. How am I supposed to know
You
that?
could just
Maybe you got
guess
something different.
what kind of juice I'm drinking.
You fucking Jew drinker, you.
Leviosa.
Leviosa.
8. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, take triple Aaron with his sons, their vestments, and the oil of anointing, a calf for sin, 2 rams, and a basket with unleavened bread, and gather together the assembly at the door of the tabernacle. Actually, let me just correct this. Two detonated webs. And Moses did as the Lord had commanded. And when all the crowd was gathered together before the entrance of the tabernacle, he said, this is the word that the Lord has ordered to be done. And immediately he brought forward triple Aaron and his sons, and when he washed them, he vested the high priest with the linen undergarment, wrapped him with the white belt, and clothed him with the hyacinth tunic, and over it he imposed the ephod. So that just sounds...
Yeah, it does, yeah.
And tying it to the belt, he fitted it to the breastplate, on which was doctrine and truth. Also, he wrapped the headdress on his head, and over it, opposite the forehead, he placed the plate of gold, consecrated with sanctification, just as the Lord had instructed. He also took up the oil of anointing, with which he anointed the tabernacle, along with all of its articles. And when he had sprinkled the altar 7 times to sanctify it, he anointed it with all its vessels. The washtub with its base he sanctified with the oil. Pouring oil all over triple Aaron's head, he anointed and consecrated him. Likewise,
Yeah.
after he had offered his sons, he vested them with linen tunics, and he wrapped them with white belts, and he placed headdresses on them, just as the Lord ordered. He also offered the calf for sin. When triple Aaron and his sons had placed their hands upon its head, he immolated it, and drawing the blood, dipping his finger in it, he touched the horns of the altar all around. And when it was expiated and sanctified, he poured out the remainder of the blood at its base. Yet truly, the fat, which was on the vital organs, and the mesh of the liver, and the 2 little kidneys with their fat, he burnt upon the altar. And the calf, the skin, and the flesh, and the dung, he burnt beyond the camp, just as the Lord had it. He also offered a ram as a holocaust. And when triple Aaron and his sons had imposed their hands upon its head, he immolated it, and he poured out its blood around the altar. And cutting the ram into pieces, he burned his last resort. He burned its head and the limbs and the fat in the fire, having first washed the intestines and the feet. And then he burned the whole of the ram upon the altar, because it was a holocaust of most sweet odor to the Lord, as he had instructed him. He also offered a second ram stick, as a consecration of priests. And triple Aaron and his sons placed their hands upon its head. And when Moses had immolated it, they said, "Hot, hot, hot." I just fucking can't. We're just getting the same shit over and over. This is how you need to sacrifice it, and this is how they proceeded to sacrifice it. And when Moses had immolated it, taking up some of its blood, he touched the tip of triple Aaron's right ear, and the thumb of his right hand, and similarly also his foot. I like how the page just ends right tip. There. What a blood. Welcome to the Bible. Really holocausting those calves and shit.
Speaking of holocausting.
Yes, Teras?
What?
What?
Don't make me grab the book.
Make me grab my... He also offered the sons of triple Aaron. And when, from the blood of the ram which was immolated, he had touched the tip, the right ear of each one, and the thumbs of the right hands, as well as their feet, he poured out the remainder upon the altar all around. Yet truly, the fat, rump, and all the fat that covers the intestines, and the mesh of the liver, and the 2 kidneys with their fat, the right shoulder, he separated. Then, taking bread without leaven from the basket of unleavened bread, which was before the Lord, and a cake sprinkled with oil, and a wafer, he placed them upon the fat and the right shoulder. Delivering all these to triple Aaron and his sons. And when they had lifted them up in the sight of the Lord, he received them again from their hands, and he burned them upon the altar of holocaust, because it was an oblation of consecration, as a sweet odor of sacrifice to the Lord. I really want to go back to actual story. I really miss when stuff actually happened.
Not allowed.
Bread without leaven from the basket of unleavened bread. Well, maybe somebody snuck in leavened bread there? Just mess with them? Although I guess it wouldn't be...
They're just like the basket of uneven bread from the basket of uneven whatever they said, and then they just look at this one guy who's put the wrong thing in it once, and they like enunciate it when they're saying it.
What if the basket is made from unleavened bread?
Oh my god.
And he took his portion from the ram of consecration, and he lifted up its breast in the sight of the Lord, just as the Lord had instructed him. And taking up the ointment and the blood that was on the altar, he sprinkled it over triple Aaron and his vestments, and over his sons and their vestments. And when he had sanctified them with their vestments, he instructed them, saying, "Cook the flesh before the entrance of the tabernacle and eat it there. Likewise, eat the loaves of the consecration which have been placed in the basket, just as the Lord instructed me, saying, Triple Aaron and his sons shall eat them. So eat them just as I was instructed to tell you. Eat them. Very specific.
Just in case you try to do something other than eating them. Like drinking them or putting them in your pockets or something.
But how would you eat them other than eating them? Because it says, likewise, eat the loaves, just as the Lord instructed me, saying, his sons, Triple Aaron and his sons shall eat them. So, it's not like you could eat them without eating them.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could keister them.
What?
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 Saying.
They could have keistered it.
Translate.
Prison wallet.
Wallet?
Okay, well, tell me you know what a prison wallet is.
That's not eating. That is.
That's
intaking.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not eating.
Well, I mean, it is disappearing. It is disappearing into you.
So having sex means the woman is eating.
What?
I don't fucking logic.
It starts chewing intensifies.
Then whatever will remain of the flesh in the loaves shall be consumed with fire. God. Also, you shall not exit from the door of the tabernacle for 7 days, until the day on which the time of your consecration shall be completed. For the 7 days, the consecration is finished. Oh, really? I couldn't figure that out myself. Even as it has begun at this present time, so that the rite of sacrifice might be accomplished. Day and night you shall remain in the tabernacle, observing the watches of the Lord. Lord has multiple watches? Otherwise you shall die.
At least 6.
Are they made of tangerines?
Well, I fucking hope they are.
For so it has been commanded to me. And Triple Aaron and his sons did everything the Lord spoke by the hand of Moses. Just hope that there's... Please let there actually be something interesting now. So fucking done with it. Live your son 9. Then, the 8th day having arrived, Moses called Triple Aaron and his sons, and those greater by birth from Israel, and said to Triple Aaron, take a calf for sin from the herd, and a ram as a holocaust, both immaculate, and offer them in the sight of the Lord. And to the sons of Israel, you shall say, take a he-goat for sin, and a calf as well as a lamb, both 1 year old, without blemish, as a holocaust. Take also an cox, as found and replace Teras.
You're welcome.
And a ram for peace offerings, and immolate them before the Lord, offering with the sacrifice of each one fine wheat flour sprinkled with oil. For today the Lord will appear to you.
Oh no.
And so they brought everything that Moses had ordered before the door of the tabernacle, where, when all the multitude stood together, Moses said, this is the word which the Lord has instructed. Accomplish it, and his glory will appear to you.
Really?
Yes. What it says here. What I'm reading out. Not making this up. And he said to Triple Aaron, approach towards the altar, and immolate on behalf of your sin.
Approach away from the altar is the alternative? Question mark.
And also immolate on behalf of your sin, so like spontaneously combust. Just like go to the altar and light yourself on fire on behalf of your sin. Offer the Holocaust and pray for yourself and for the people. And when you have slain the victim for the people, pray for them, just as the Lord has instructed. And immediately Triple Aaron, approaching toward the altar, not away from it, immolated the calf for his sin. And his sons brought its blood to him. So he's going to the altar, and he's immolating a calf. And then his sons are just like on the other side. I'm just imagining them to be on the other side of the hall, and the blood's just flowing everywhere, and they're just like taking hands full of blood and just bringing it back to him. Even though the source of the blood, which is the dead calf that's immolated, is literally in front of him. So why are they bringing its blood to him?
Yes.
Dipping his finger in it, he touched the horns of the altar, and he poured out the remainder at its base. And the fat, and the little kidneys, and the mesh of the liver, which are sin, he burned upon the altar, just as the Lord had instructed Moses. Yet truly, the flesh and its skins he burned with fire beyond the camp. He also immolated the victim of Holocaust, and his sons brought its blood to him, which he poured out all around the altar. I just want to point out, how many times have we gone through the process of sacrificing now? Like instructions for every single type of animal, and in almost all of the cases it's the same. Like if you sacrifice a goat, do this. If you sacrifice a ram, it's do this, which is literally the same. If you sacrifice an oxen, do this, which is literally the same. And then they sacrifice this, doing exactly this. And then they sacrifice that, doing exactly the same thing again. It is just going in detail, explaining all of this again and again and again and again. Starting to feel like in the what's the fucking movie, the horribly slow murder with the extremely inefficient weapon. Again and again and again and again and again and again and again. By the way, if you haven't seen that video on YouTube, you really should. Trailer for that movie. Would look it up, but then stuff would freeze. So just look up the horribly slow murder with the incredibly inefficient weapon or something. Great movie. See?
Twice.
And when the victim itself was cut into pieces, they brought him the head and each of the limbs, all of which he burned with fire upon the altar. I can't. Having first washed the intestines and the feet with water, and making an offering for the sin of the people, he slew the he-goat. And expiating the altar, he accomplished the Holocaust, adding to it the sacrifice of the libations, which are to be offered together, and burning them upon the altar, separately from the ceremonies of the morning Holocaust. He also immolated the ox, as well as the ram, the peace offerings for the people. And his sons brought him the blood, which he poured out upon the altar all around. Then the fat of the ox, and the rump of the ram, and the 2 little kidneys with their fat, and the mesh of the liver, they placed upon the breasts. When the fat had been burned upon the altar, triple Aaron separated their breasts and the right shoulders, lifting them up on the side of the large, as Moses instructed. And extending his hands to the people, he blessed them. And so the victims for sin, and the holocausts, and the peace offerings completed, descended. Then Moses and triple Aaron entered the tabernacle of the testimony, afterwards came out and blessed the people. And the glory of the Lord appeared to the entire multitude. And behold, the fire from the Lord devoured the holocaust, and the fat which was on the altar. When the crowd had seen this, they praised the Lord, falling on their faces. I just imagine a huge group of people just outside, just praying, and everybody just falls over like in an ASDF movie.
Everybody do their flop.
Yeah. Also, can I just point out how fucking brilliant, nobody even noticed this. You replaced Lord with Lard, right?
Yes.
And you're not even allowed to do anything because the fat is reserved for the lard. So you have to burn it separately because it's special. So the lard wants the lard, basically.
Magnets. Correct.
Teras-sized.
Wow. Ships it to the one.
And why would you ship this to radio?
Okay, let's do that.
Oh.
Question mark.
And the sons of triple Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, why are they mentioned again all of a sudden? Oh, you got yourself some. What's it called? Binoculars.
Yeah.
Good that you found something to do. And the sons of triple Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, picking up their censers, placed fire in them and incensed upon them, offering in the sight of the Lord a strange fire, such as was not instructed of them. And the fire coming out from the Lord destroyed them, and they died in the sight of the Lord. So basically, they just made they made a fire without being allowed, and then the Lord was like, "Ha, get fucked by this fire. Now you're dead." And Moses said to triple Aaron, "This is what the Lord has spoken. I will be sanctified in those who approach me, and I will be glorified in the sight of all the people." And upon hearing this, triple Aaron was silent. Then Moses called Mishael and Elzaphan. Who the
He's a
fuck
fan of
is?
Elsa.
Haven't we had those names before?
No.
Mishael, I think, yeah. Elzaphan? That's just like. If,
Just a fan of Elsa.
yeah, if I didn't know they had Frozen back then. I would like you to do a check, because we haven't had those. That's.
Un momento, por favor.
Right, so Mishael and Elzaphan, the sons of Uzziel, the paternal uncle of triple Aaron, and he said to them, "Go and take your brothers from the side of the sanctuary and carry them beyond the camp." Okay, so Mishael and Elzaphan are the sons of Uzziel, who's the uncle. So they're basically triple Aaron's cousins? Am I understanding this correctly?
False.
Okay, what is it then?
Right, Elsier.
By the way, Teras hasn't actually read. Trying to get more time so you can actually read this. Process it.
Blah blah blah. Always yelled under. No, that's just that they're not. Wait, Elzaphan? Yes, Elzaphan. Aha.
Uzziel is the paternal uncle of triple Aaron.
Oh yeah. Look.
And
yeah.
they are the sons, which makes them the cousins.
Come back. Yeah, I found it. Look, Uzziel and Elzaphan. Yeah.
Yeah, and who's Uzziel? Wait, where's triple Aaron in this? Aaron, who the son of Koath, and Uzziel.
Yeah, it is. Uzziel is Abram's is
his
Abram's brother, which is yeah.
So,
yeah, that adds up.
Yeah, so you're just a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah, so they're his cousins.
Nice.
So after triple Aaron's sons were killed, or two of them at least, called the cousins and was like, "Okay, here, to bring them away."
Bring them away? Question mark.
And moving quickly, they took them as they lay, vested with linen tunics, and cast them outside, just as had been commanded them. How are they still wearing linen tunics when they were literally burned to death?
Linen is inflammable, apparently.
And fire coming out from the Lord destroyed them. Oh no, the fire destroyed them. So it's like a flaming fist just punches them to death, but they're not actually burned to death, maybe.
Yeah, just beat them to a pulp.
You know, maybe just the fire devil just beat the ever-living shit out of them. And Moses said to triple Aaron and to his sons Eleazar and Ithamar, "Do not uncover your heads, and do not rend your garments, lest perhaps you may die, and indignation may rise up over the entire assembly. Let your brothers and all the house of Israel bewail the burning that the Lord has kindled. But you shall not depart from the door of the tabernacle, otherwise you shall perish. For certainly the oil of holy anointing is upon you." They did all the things according to the precept of Moses. The Lord also said to triple Aaron, "You shall not drink wine, nor anything that is able to inebriate you or your sons, when you enter into the tabernacle, the testimony, lest you die. For it is an everlasting precept in your generations. So you're not allowed to be aware of the
That
flaming
makes sense, I suppose.
And so may you have the knowledge to discern between holy and profane, between polluted and clean. So may you teach the sons of Israel all my ordinances the Lord has spoken to them by the hand of Moses.
Every single one.
Moses spoke to triple Aaron and to his sons Eleazar and Ithamar, who were remaining. Take the sacrifice which remains from the oblation of the Lord and eat it without leaven next to the altar, because it is the holy of holies. For you shall
Holy
eat it.
leaven.
For you shall eat it in a holy place, which is given to you and to your sons, oblation of the Lord, just as has been instructed me. Likewise, the breast which is offered and the shoulder which is separated, you shall eat in a most clean place, you, your sons, and your daughters with you. Ooh, damn!
Ooh.
They actually get food!
For
Here,
once.
here! For these have been set aside for you and your children from the victims which benefit the sons of Israel. Since they have lifted up in the sight of the Lord the shoulder and the breast and the fat that is burned on the altar, these also belong to you and to your sons as a perpetual law, just as the Lord has instructed. But those don't belong to your daughters. So the daughters only get the breast and the shoulder. Everything else is only for the maid.
Shoulders, knees and toes. Knees and toes.
Shoulders, antiseptic cream feet, antiseptic cream feet.
No. Not again.
Meanwhile, when Moses was searching for the he-goat, which had been offered for sin, he discovered it burned up. And being very angry against Eleazar and Ithamar, the sons of triple Aaron who were remaining, he said, "Why did you not eat the sacrifice for sin in the holy place, which is the holy of holies, and which was given to you, so that you might carry the iniquity of the people, and might pray for them in the sight of the Lord, especially since none of its blood has been brought into the holy places, and since you should have it in the sanctuary as was instructed me?" Triple Aaron responded, "This day, the victim for sin has been offered, and the Holocaust in the sight of the Lord. But you see what has happened to me. How could I eat it, or please the Lord in the ceremonies, having a sorrowful mind?" When Moses had heard this, he was satisfied. So basically, he was sad, he didn't want to eat. And Moses was like, yeah.
Well. Rude.
At least we're not only sacrifice stuff. There's actually a few things happening now here and there, like people dying.
Yeah, that's just fun.
Yeah.
For the whole family.
I missed the dying part.
Wow.
Just
playing with Magnet.
11.
And stop reading it and then Christian sexual voice, thanks.
And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "Say to the sons of Israel, these are the animals that you ought to eat out of all the living things on the earth. All that has a divided hoof and that chews over again among the cattle you shall eat. But whatever certainly chews over again, but has a hoof that is not divided, such as camel and others, these you shall not eat, and you shall consider them to be among what is unclean. The rock rabbit, which chews over again and whose hoof is not divided, is unclean, and so also is the hare, for it too chews over again, yet its hoof is not divided." I didn't know that those had hoofs, but sure.
The more you know.
Hoof, shoulders, knees, and
If you done.
the flesh of these you shall not eat, nor shall you touch their carcasses, because they are unclean. These are the things that breed in the waters, and which it is lawful to eat. All that has little fins and scales, as much in the sea as in the rivers and ponds, you shall eat. But whatever does not have fins and scales, those things that live and move in the waters, shall be abominable to you, and detestable. Their flesh you shall not eat, and their carcasses you shall avoid.
So Christians can't eat seafood, just fish.
Does it have fins? Scales? Question is, does it have to have fins and scales, or the things that have fins and the things that have scales?
So you can't eat, for example, jellyfish.
Yes, correct.
Wow, that's very restrictive.
All that does not have fins and scales in the waters shall be polluted. These are those things among the birds which you must not, which are to be avoided by you: the eagle and the griffin and the osprey, the kite as well as the vulture, according to their kind. What?
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 This?
What's what?
Highlighting.
What are you highlighting?
11:50.
11:15, and all that is
Oh,
of the
okay. Read 11:14 and then read 11:15.
and the kite as well as the vulture according to their kind, and all that
Full
is
stop. Lowercase a.
full stop, and okay, oh, that's very unfortunate.
And all that is of the raven kind, according to their likeness: the ostrich and the owl, and the gull and the hawk, according to its kind, the owl, again, and the seabird and the ibis, and the swan and the pelican and the marsh hen, the heron and the plover, according to its kind, and the crested hoopoe, and also the bat. Of
The
all that
fuck
flies,
is the
whatever
crested
steps
hippo?
up on 4 feet shall be abominable to you. Wait, so are you allowed to eat all of those, or are you not allowed?
Oh, the crested hippo is a really nice looking bird.
Wait.
If you want to buy a taxidermy one, it's only $300.
Hey, Teras,
Yes.
you're not allowed to eat owls, and you're also not allowed to eat owls.
Oh, good. Okay, thanks. Thanks for letting me know.
Also, anything that flies and has 4 feet, you're allowed to nom nom. But whatever certainly walks upon 4 feet and also has longer legs behind, which it hops upon the earth, you shall eat, such as the beetle in its kind, and the cricket, and the grasshopper, and the locust. Yeah, each one
What
according to its
about
kind.
the kangaroo?
That have 4 legs.
Yes.
No, kangaroos don't exist.
Oh, okay, fair
The
enough.
Bible doesn't take place in Australia.
Australia doesn't exist. Understandable.
But among flying things, whatever has only 4 feet shall be detestable to you. Only 4 feet. Yeah, I like the flying things with 8 feet. Like spiders.
The flying kind.
Bad spider when.
I thought we weren't going to Australia.
And whoever will have touched their carcasses shall be defiled, and he shall be unclean until evening. Okay, and what does clean actually entail?
Not being clean.
And if it will be necessary to carry any of these dead things, he shall wash his clothes, shall unclean until the sun sets.
Yes, Mr. Burns, flying things with 4 feet. Aren't you paying attention?
Yeah. And I'm guessing feet refers to anything that you walk upon, so if it's more like a hand, can also qualify as a feet. For example, does your mom count?
I mean, mine might.
I mean, your mom sure is fly. I'm still waiting for you to wear that as a necklace, by the way, this entire time. You're just not doing it.
Understandable. Un momento, por favor.
Example, does a butterfly have 4? How many does a butterfly have?
6? Question mark. It isn't it an insect?
Did I pay attention in biology class?
And I don't know. Did you?
Actually, doesn't look too bad, honestly, on you.
I can make it longer. Or you, depending on the day of the week.
And if it will be necessary to carry any of these dead things... Wait, I already read.
Wow.
So that certainly has a hoof, which is not divided, nor does it chew over again, shall be unclean. Oh, really? Thanks, Bible. And whoever will have touched it shall be contaminated.
An avocado. Thanks.
Whatever walks upon its hands out of all the animals that advance on all fours shall be unclean. Whoever will have touched their carcasses shall be polluted until evening. Okay, now I'm curious. So what has 4 things, like hands, feet, like 4, whatever the fuck you call it, and walks on its hands? It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be exclusively. It can be also. Okay, monkeys. Yeah.
Just apes in general, I guess. Yes.
Okay, so monkeys are not. Yeah, monkeys are off limits. Makes sense.
Do not monkey. $20 fine.
And whoever will have carried this kind of carcass shall wash his clothes, and he shall be unclean until evening, for all these are unclean to you. Likewise, these shall be considered among polluted things, out of all that moves upon the earth: the weasel and the mouse, crocodile, each one according to its kind, the shrew and the chameleon and the gecko and the lizard and the mole. All these are unclean. Whoever will have touched their carcasses shall be unclean until evening. And anything upon which something from their carcasses will have fallen shall be defiled, whether it is a vessel of wood, or a garment, or skins, or haircloth, or anything by which work is done. So literally anything that touches the carcass of any of those aforementioned things is considered unclean.
Wow.
These shall be dipped in water and shall be defiled until evening, but then afterwards these shall be clean. But an earthen vessel, into which something from these will fall, shall be defiled, and therefore it is to be broken. What?
Broken? That's rude.
Any of the foods you shall eat, if water from such vessel will have been poured upon it, it shall be unclean. What?
Shape.
Make a lock from it, though. Padlock. Can you make the Thactus?
I broke it.
Foods that you eat, if water from such a vessel will be poured upon it, clean, and every liquid which one may drink from such a vessel shall be unclean. And if anything from among these kinds of dead things have fallen upon it, it shall be unclean, whether it be an oven or a pot with feet.
What?
Yes, these shall be unclean and shall be destroyed. You heard that right. And if anything from among these kinds of dead things has fallen upon it, it shall be unclean, whether it be an oven or a pot with feet. So if you put one of the unclean animals in your pot with feet, it's unclean.
Wow. Good thing my pot doesn't have feet.
Deleters.
Ah.
Yet truly, fountains and cisterns, and all reservoirs of water shall be clean. Whoever will have touched their carcasses shall be defiled. If it falls upon seed grain, it shall not defile it. Oh, now we're coming up with exceptions to the rule.
Yes.
If anyone has poured water upon the seed grain, afterwards it was touched by the carcasses, it shall be immediately defiled. I'm not following anymore. If any animals will have died, from which it is lawful for you to eat, whoever will have touched its carcass shall be unclean until evening. And whoever will have eaten or carried anything of these shall wash his clothes and shall be unclean until evening. What? Why would I care if I'm unclean until evening?
So does it... Are you clean after evening?
Yeah.
So it's perfectly fine then?
Yeah, so why would I care?
You wouldn't?
All that creeps across the earth shall be abominable, neither shall it taken up as food. Neither shall it be taken up as food. Whatever advances by 4 feet upon the chest, or that has many feet, or that drags across the soil, shall not eat, because it is abominable. Do not be willing to contaminate your souls, nor shall you touch any of these, lest you become unclean. For I am the Lord your Skytis. Be holy, for I am holy. Do not pollute your souls with any creeping thing which moves across the land. For I am the Lord who led you away from the land of Egypt, so that I would be your Skytis. You shall be holy, for I am holy. This is the law of the animals and flying things. Okay, I guess. And every living soul that moves in the waters or creeps upon the land, so that you may know the difference between clean and unclean, and so that you may know what you ought to eat and what you ought to refuse. Holy fuck, it's getting complicated. Thanks, Teras.
You're welcome.
It's just
This was definitely an eye-opener.
you need to bring a list with you, and whenever you want to actually eat a meat, you'll have to check, okay, which kind of animal is it? Am I allowed to actually eat this?
I should make I should make an app that just lets you check quickly.
No, better. Make a flowchart.
Oh no.
Does it chew again? Yes, no. Does it have hooves? Are they split?
My God.
Does it fly? Does it have 4 feet?
Oh, that sounds like a task for another day.
Daisy. What the My microphone is not picking up enough stuff, apparently.
Wow, that's just false.
I need to work on my filter section. Gate. Wait, can we eat Pegasus? Does it have a split hoof?
Go find the Bible and read it yourself, you lazy fuck.
Yeah, exactly. You're not paying me enough to do this for you. Unless, however, how much are you willing to pay? I can't find. Well, it seems like we're not only doing instructions anymore, so maybe the Bible will actually get interesting in the next reading session again.
Wow.
We're getting pretty close to the end. Quarters there. Interesting. We're 3/4 in terms of pages, but we've only done half of the books.
Wow.
The other 2 books are really short.
Leviticus only goes down to 27, and Book of Numbers only goes down to 11.
How many did we do so far? This is.
I'm also really disappointed because the Book of Numbers doesn't have numbers.
Has a number in front of every single verse, I'm pretty.
Yeah, but there's also letters in it.
It's not called the Book of Only Numbers.
Well, they should call the Book of Letters and Numbers.
Alphanumeric book. I think this was like reading number 12. And we're
I think so, yeah.
75% of the way.
Nice.
Got another 4 sessions, depending on how quick we are.
Nice, yeah.
Torvik.
No. Torviticus.
Do not stop, Teras. Stop.
Oh no.
You're literally not allowed on Twitch. I'm not even kidding. I thought you knew. Don't do that again.
It just rips my clothes open.
I'm tempted to try to start my character.
What, you still have a brain? Share.
Mind you.
Anyway. What? Danny.
Oh, where did all the fat go? Only Teras, yes. Sweet dreams after reading this, and don't forget, sorry about shit. We're not there yet. It'll happen at some point, and
Are we there yet?
don't worry.
Are we there yet?
It will certainly go into the best of. Maybe it'll even make it into the merch. Who knows? I don't know. Are we there yet? So do we do character or do we do that another time?
I don't know.
Shut up! I'm not asking you.
No, don't do it.
You don't count as a viewer. You.
Wow, that's really rude.
Top 20 runs. How about no?
I think you need to pay him more.
I was just about to say, unless I get paid, I'm done with getting over it.
It's a paid service only.
Yeah. You know, for $20, sure. If you really want another run, go tip $20. Yeah. Bucks, I mean euros. Not any currency.
20 fucking Mexican pesos.
Just to upset Teras.
Oh no. My fucking god. Fucking peel you like a tangerine.